Hi, I'm Austin, and I was on MasterChef. In today's video, I'm taking a break from the science and just cooking. I was a little disappointed that my dish wasn't shown on the TV show, so I decided, hey, I'll have to make a YouTube video about it. My dish was a crispy walleye fillet, crispy shallots, a dill herb oil, and a quick tomato hollandaise with lima beans because it's from the South. And ultimately, I'm putting the power in your hands for you to decide, was my dish apron worthy? Let's go ahead and begin.
Let's start with the fish. First, pat the fillet and salt it. Be sure to get both sides. Little known fact, Kentucky has great waters for walleye. You can get it at the store or just go out and catch your own. Add the fish to a paper towel lined tray and place it in the fridge. The salt firms up the meat and dries out the skin. Keep it there while you prepare the rest of the ingredients. Next, the lima beans. Bring to a boil a pot of water and add some lima beans along with a splash of olive oil. The oil will prevent the beans from drying out. It's important to taste the beans as they cook to determine your preferred doneness. Let's make the crispy shallots. Grab 2 shallots and slice them as fine as you can with a sharp knife or a mandolin. Next, add them to a pan and add enough oil to cover them completely. Add the pan to the stove and slowly heat them until the shallots begin to color. Start off on low heat and gradually increase it over time. Once they begin to color, strain away the oil and transfer the shallots to some dry paper towels. As they cool, they will begin to crisp. Keep the oil for later. Shallots are a great way to add crispiness to the dish without flour or starch. It also gives the satisfaction of crispy if you fail to get the skin on the fish crisp. Now move the shallots off to the side and store them for later. Let's make the herb jalapeno oil. Inspect your jalapenos, cut them in half, keeping the seeds and all, and add them to a pot along with enough oil to cover. Set over medium-low heat and heat the peppers until they begin to bubble. While the oil infuses, take about 50 grams of dill sprigs. This takes a little bit of time, so take your time. Once done, add it to a blender. When the jalapenos are bubbling, remove from the heat and add it directly to the blender, along with the shallot oil we made earlier. Blend on high speed until the oil turns a beautiful dark green. Once done, turn off the blender and strain the oil through some paper towels to clarify. Transfer to a squeeze bottle and set aside for later. Let's prepare the fish. Remove the fish from the fridge and pat the skin dry with a paper towel. Remove the belly and portion the fish into slabs. A great way to improve the crispiness of the fish is to add some windura to the skin. It's pre-cooked flour that gives a very unique crispiness to protein, and I think it's kind of a cheat code. Next, heat a frying pan over high heat and add a splash of oil. Once the oil begins to smoke, add the fish to the pan, add a weight to the top, and fry until the fillet is just about 80% of the way cooked. Remove the weight and flip the fish and cook for an additional minute or so. Next, remove the fish from the pan and let the fish rest skin side up for a few minutes. Look at that beautiful sear. Now let's make the quick tomato hollandaise. Melt a stick of butter over medium heat. Into a container, add 1 whole egg, 2 teaspoons champagne vinegar, 1 tablespoon tomato paste, and 3 grams salt. Blend this with an immersion blender until smooth. Next, while the butter is still hot, gently stream it into the container and blend it until a beautiful emulsion has formed. This hollandaise isn't as voluminous as the traditional version, but we sacrifice luxury for speed. It is still delicious though. Let's plate. Add a dollop of the hollandaise to the plate and add the fish right on top. Lay some lima beans off to the side. Next, garnish with the thinly sliced jalapenos and dill sprigs. And finish the dish by drizzling the oil all around. If you don't like how it looks at first, rearrange it until you like it. And there we have it, A dish worthy for an apron. Or is it?
So do I think the dish is apron worthy? At the time, I certainly did. Just giving a little background on what I thought about when I came up with the dish. I had lima beans. Lima beans are pretty southern ingredient, and I thought that they would complement the meaty texture of the walleye as well, and they do. The texture is great in this dish. The dill is a great pairing with the butter and the hollandaise sauce, and the acidity from the tomatoes and everything will kind of balance out all the fat. And so I thought the tomato hollandaise was a pretty good idea. I added the shallots, the fried shallots, just so that if I didn't get the crispy skin, you still get that satisfying crispiness from the shallots themselves. So for some reason here in Louisville and I guess Southern Indiana, jalapenos are a big deal, and so it's kind of an homage to the city and where I'm currently stay at. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and dig in. I'm actually going to try the dish pretty similar to when the judges tried it. At this point, it's been a little bit of time, maybe about 30 minutes since I've actually finished the dish, because I had to take photos and set things up and clean up a little bit. So the cook on the fish is pretty good, I would say. Still pretty tender. I really like how tasty the dish is. The fish is cooked well. The skin isn't like super crispy. I think with the fish sitting here for a little bit, took on a little extra moisture, and so I think that's why it's not as crispy as I was expecting. One thing that would have helped with that was to do a little bit of Wondera, like that flour. That would kind of crisp it up a little bit. And also, now I think about it, if I had used my torch, I probably could have got even crispier skin after frying it. So, but yeah, I can see that being a knock. But I think ultimately, like, I am like wanted to go right back in and taste the dish again. So it's just for me like a really, really tasty dish. I think it's inviting. One knock that I got was that the sauce was oddly colored. I guess just that they weren't really, they were so used to that traditional hollandaise color that the orange reddish color kind of threw them off. Ramsay picked at the fact that the hollandaise wasn't as light, but I kind of sacrificed the traditional hollandaise texture, that like really light, luxurious texture, airy texture, for just pure speed. I got this done in like 2 minutes when the clock was winding down. So I really like this dish. Again, I don't think it's a skill issue necessarily, but maybe just wasn't the right fit for that season. So, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to drop a comment down below what you want to see on the channel next. There's a little break from science, but a lot of people were asking for me to show the dish that wasn't shown on MasterChef. So again, grateful for the opportunity, and I'm happy to have had that experience with my family and and friends out in LA. So till next time.
For more science action, go check out one of my shorts or the suggested video on screen. And we out, baby.